So here's one for you. This song was written in a different language, but it was always meant to be recorded in English because they were going to release it across the world. So when it was translated to English right before it was recorded, the guitarist wrote down the opening line incorrectly. The singer who recorded it spoke only Dutch, so she didn't know. She sang the typo, and it changed the meaning of the song, really. Became very confusing since that particular word hadn't been sung or used since about the 1500s. But nobody caught on until after it was released, and it was never fixed. Because it wouldn't matter. The song went to #1. In fact, it went to #1 twice in 2 different decades by 2 different bands. It had become the only song title in history to hit #1 3 different times. Coming up next, the incredible backstory of this irresistible smash and the skinny behind both #1 hit versions that have really dazzled multiple generations of music fans, including the hilarious mispronounced lyric and another one where it sounds like she's swearing, coming up on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you remember the Pepsi taste test that they did in malls across America, you're going to dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now. Click the big red button and click the bell so you always know when our stuff is coming out. We have some of the best stories, best interviews out there if you love music, especially the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Also, check us out on Patreon. We have more content there, and that helps us keep it a daily channel. Hey, let's talk about Venus, an addictive pop music narcotic originated by the Dutch quartet Shocking Blue. It's not just your typical catchy tune. Like all the classic hits of the rock era, there's a really colorful story behind this one. I'm your Venus, I'm your fire at your desire. Venus, the Roman goddess of love, beauty, and desire, has been used as a song title with phenomenal success across the years. Singles with the title of Venus have hit the #1 position on the Billboard Hot 100 3 times. The first single to achieve that feat was Ed Marshall's composition Venus, performed by teen idol Frankie Avalon in 1959. Venus make her fair. It happened for the second time in February of 1970 with Shocking Blue's Venus. Well, I'm your Venus, I'm your fire at your... Then a third time with Bananarama's remake of Shocking Blue's Venus in September of '86. Robbie van Leeuwen, he was the man who put Shocking Blue together in The Hague, Netherlands. This happened in 1967. He was the lead guitarist in a group named The Motions prior to that. The Motions earned the distinction of being the first Netterbeat band to garner success on the Dutch singles chart when they scored with Wasted Words. So Netterbeat was the term used to describe the boom of the rock scene in that country that was influenced by the British invasion, you know, the Beatles, the Stones, and the Kinks, and then some. But these are wasted words, only wasted words. Robbie left the Motions to form his own band, assembling what became Shocking Blue. So at first, Shocking Blue was very much a garage band that followed, the psychedelic hippie fad of the late 60s. The band showed some promise with a couple of mild hits in the Netherlands, but Robbie, who was also a very talented songwriter, he had much bigger aspirations. Like many European musicians in the 60s, he had his sights on having a hit in America. He knew that they needed to change the sound of the band to something more melodic, more mass appeal for that to happen. Shocking Blue's manager, Cees van Leeuwen, actually no relation to Robbie, and the band's publisher were at this bash celebrating Golden Earring's first #1 hit in Holland, Dong Dong Kitty Gidong. At the party, there was this band that was called the Bumblebees. This band was led by an amazing singer, a powerhouse by the name of Mariska Veres. She had a killer voice that really stood out from the crowd. Turns out Mariska had some serious musical roots. Her dad played violin in a gypsy band, and she'd been singing since she was a young child. She even had a solo single called Top Copy under her belt. Original lead singer Fred de Wilde was forced to leave the group for military service, and Mariska was exactly what Shocking Blue needed to execute Robbie's plan for international success. It was really perfect timing, and he was determined to sign her up. So Mariska accepted Robbie's invitation to join the band in 1968, and Shocking Blue had a bit of a transformation. They really centered around Mariska's mesmerizing looks and her hypnotic vocals. Mariska was actually compared to Jefferson Airplane's frontwoman Grace Slick a lot. She had long dark hair like Grace, and her vocal style had a lower register similar to Grace that gave the music a shocking blue, a lot more depth than the material before she joined the group. When Venus became a pop phenomenon, many listeners thought the song was sung by a male singer, actually. They were shocked to see the sultry Mariska performing the iconic vocal, when they'd see it on television or a picture of her.
Well, I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire.
Now, offstage, Mariska was very much unlike Grace Slick. Grace was provocative and really a symbol of the acid-lace counterculture, while Mariska, she was what you might call a teetotaler. Instead of hitting up wild parties on tour, Mariska preferred chilling in her hotel room all by herself. She liked to binge watch movies. And as for boozing and drugs, not her thing at all. She stuck to tea and orange juice. Plus, when she was back home in the Netherlands, she'd have cozy nights chilling with her parents. Mariska described her offstage personality as Holy Mary. Another departure from her onstage persona was that Mariska wore a wig when she performed in front of live audiences. Her natural hair was actually curly, not the long straight hair the audience saw in concert. Mariska recalled a time when fans in Japan tried to cut her hair, only to find out that it was actually a wig. She mentioned how loads of fans would try to touch her, so she came up with this sneaky move of pinching them whenever they got too close, sort of like a force field to create boundaries from the crowd. In late 1969, Robbie van Leeuwen began writing a song that would be performed in English, a song about a goddess on a mountaintop for At Home, which was the first album to feature Mariska Veres on lead vocals. The goddess in Robbie's tune was so alluring. Venus had to be her name. Robbie wrote down his lyrics to give to Mariska, for her to sing, but he inadvertently misspelled goddess on the opening verse. It was actually supposed to read a goddess on a mountaintop, but it read a godness on a mountaintop. Mariska spoke only Dutch, so she had to memorize every word of Venus in English. When the band was in the studio to record Venus, Mariska delivered the lines exactly as they were written on Robbie's lyric sheet. So instead of singing a goddess on a mountaintop, Mariska sang a godness on a mountaintop. A lot of people don't know that is actually a word, but it wasn't used, last time it was used in the 1500s. Since none of the band spoke fluent English, nobody caught it. So this mistake remained on the master recording of Venus. Another innocent mistake that Mariska made when she sang the song in the vocal booth is heard in verse 2. Now the correct lyric is, her weapons were her crystal eyes. But Mariska clearly says, crystal ass. The thing is, listeners, they didn't seem to notice either lyrical snafu and naturally sang the instinctively logical lyric along with the song. If you're following the song structure of Venus as a story, the narration, it's very confusing. It's kind of tricky to figure out if Mariska is singing in the first person as Venus or talking about her in the third person. In the first chorus, the song rolls along with, she's got it, yeah, baby, she's got it.
She's got it, yeah, baby, she's got it.
And then the next line goes, I'm your Venus, I'm your fire at your desire.
I'm your Venus, I'm your fire at your desire.
You feel me? I mean, it's a bit of a question mark, but not enough to stop anyone from adoring Robbie van Leeuwen's irresistible hook, including me. It's just one of those sing-along ditties.
I'm your Venus, I'm your fire at your desire.
Robbie took some liberties when he composed a musical arrangement for Venus, and he blatantly lifted musical parts from several songs, with permission, of course. That cool guitar riff in Venus was not a Robbie van Leeuwen original. It turns out it was borrowed from The Who's Pinball Wizard. Wait, though, there's more. Robbie shaped the lyrical structure around the melody from the banjo song by Tim Rose and the Big Three featuring Mama Cass Elliot, which itself was based on Stephen Foster's 19th century classic O Susanna. It's funny how music can sort of evolve into pop culture like that, right? Venus was constructed in the studio by Jerry Ross. He was also behind the production of another Dutch band, T-Set. They were known for their hit Ma Belle Amy. Ross was quite the maestro, though, producing an album featuring orchestral renditions of his Dutch hits released under the moniker Jerry Ross Symposium.
Ma belle Amy, you were a child.
As we continue to break down this song, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear, the glasses I always wear. Right now, you can get up to 80% off regular retail prices. Everything from reading glasses to progressive lenses to transition lenses, sunglasses, migraine relief glasses. They've got it all. You can add amazing features like blue blocks that protect your eyes from digital blue light that we run into every day. Make sure to click our info button right up here to get the special POR price. Do it today. In the recording of Venus, the keyboard was played by Michael Schauser, a studio musician who wasn't part of Shocking Blue. Surprisingly, he was never credited for his outstanding performance. His skillful keyboard playing was particularly noteworthy, especially since many listeners weren't even aware that keyboards were even used in the song. In a moment of studio improv, the primal wow that leads into the second chorus was detonated by the normally mellow-mannered Robbie van Leeuwen.
Wow, she's got it.
As it turned out, though, the riff poaching, the lyrical errors, and the mixed-up point of view in the narrative, it had no effect on the public's opinion of Shocking Blue's Venus. It was an unadulterated worldwide smash. It was exactly what Robbie van Leeuwen was striving for. The single hit the top of the pop music mountain, cresting at #1 in 15 different countries, including Robbie's ultimate goal, reaching the #1 spot in the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States. The next chapter in the story of Venus began with the entrance of British pop group Bananarama, vocal trio featuring Sarah Dallin, Karen Woodward, and Siobhan Fahey. The trio emerged from the vibrant punk and new wave scenes of London, of course. Sarah Dallin and Karen Woodward, originally from Bristol, were childhood pals who ventured to London together. So they crossed paths with Siobhan Fahey in the city, and that's when the union happened. Dallin and Fahey were studying at the London College of Fashion, while Woodward held down a job at the BBC to make ends meet as they were going on. Money was tight, and Dallin and Woodward were on the brink of homelessness when they met Paul Cook. Paul Cook, of course, former drummer of the Sex Pistols. They met him at a club. Cook offered them a spot above his rehearsal space, and before they knew it, they were all jamming together and making some promising music. Bananarama was actually named after the Roxy Music tune Pajamarama, and they started out lending their voices as backup singers for Professionals, the band that was formed by Sex Pistols alumni Paul Cook and Steve Jones. But that wasn't all. They also provided backing vocals for the likes of Iggy Pop, The Jam, and whoever else needed that extra vocal oomph. Venus was one of the first songs that Bananarama performed when they came together in 1979. But they tactfully moved away from singing covers to record original songs so they would be taken seriously as a recording act. By the mid-'80s, Bananarama was killing it in the UK with a whopping 10 top 10 singles under their belt. You may remember the hits Robert De Niro's Waiting and Cruel Summer that hit here in the US. Actually, Cruel Summer went to #9 on the Billboard Hot 100 and has that cool placement in the original Karate Kid back in '84. They had an idea to put their own spin on Venus and turn it into a dance floor anthem to celebrate their own awesome journey. The Bananarama songwriting team of Steve Jolly and Tony Swain disapproved, though. They could not wrap their heads around how Venus could be popular in the '80s. Instead, the group turned to the production team of Mike Stock, Matt Aiken, and Pete Waterman, who had recently produced Dead or Alive's new wave dance craze classic, You Spin Me Round Like a Record. With the help from the Stock, Aiken, and Waterman production team, Bananarama totally revamped the psychedelic vibe of the tune Venus into a bangin' dance hit. They kept the same catchy melody, of course, but they spiced it up with all those now dated 80s sounds like staccato keys, synth bass, machine gun hand claps, and a drum machine, of course. The result was a busy, super energetic track that somehow just clicked with a new generation, and it hit the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 all over again. It marked only the 4th song ever at the time to reach #1 with 2 different versions. Bananarama dropped a totally iconic music video for Venus as well. It had everything: she-devils, vampires, and a goddess. I mean, it had to have a goddess, right?
Yeah, baby, she's got it.
I mean, on paper, the treatment might have looked kind of spooky, but it ended up being a really fun video with the girlfriends goofing around, dressing up like they were kids all over again. The youthful spirit of the video brought the song back into the pop culture in a whole new way. Now, Venus, that was the peak of Bananarama's success, but they did have one more major hit in the US with I Heard a Rumor. That went to #4 on the Billboard Hot 100 in '87. It's actually my favorite song by them. In '88, Siobhan Fahey, she decided she'd had enough of Bananarama's dance pop vibe, so she went away. She went on to tie the knot with Dave Stewart from Eurythmics, but that didn't last very long. Then she teamed up with Marcella Detroit to form Shakespeare's Sister. Of course, they had a #4 hit on the charts with Stay in 1992. In 1974, 12 years before Bananarama struck gold with their version of Venus, Shocking Blue broke up. At the time of their dissolution, Shocking Blue had sold nearly 14 million records worldwide and ranked as the 2nd most successful net or beat band in Holland, behind only Golden Earring, arguably the country's all-time biggest rock band. Mariska continued with a solo career, though, which included a few minor hits in Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands in 1975 and 1976. Shocking Blue, though, they reunited briefly in 1984. The comeback featuring their appearances on 2 retro music festivals was successful, but Robbie van Leeuwen, he dropped out immediately after those plays, and that was really the end of the reunion. Siobhan rejoined Sarah and Karen for a Bananarama reunion tour in 2017, but that also was short-lived. Sadly, Mariska died only 3 weeks after she was diagnosed with gallbladder cancer in 2006. She was only 59 years old. In 2007, after her passing, a version of Venus was released, recorded with pianist and bandleader Dolph de Vries for the album Another Touch. Mariska Veres recorded Venus 4 times throughout her career. First with Shocking Blue in 1969, then with Mariska Veres' Shocking Jazz Quintet in 1993. She also recorded versions with Formula Diablo in both English and Spanish in 1997, and then later collaborated with Dolph de Vries for a lounge rendition of Venus between 2005 and 2006.
She's got it. Yeah, baby, she's got it.
Bassist Leo van de Kettergy, he passed away in 2021. Original lead singer Fred De Wilde passed in 2014. And drummer Cor van der Beek, he died in 1998. Founder and lead guitarist Robbie van Leeuwen is the only surviving member of Shocking Blue. Besides the non-stop airplay of either the Shocking Blue version or the Bananarama version, you can hear Venus in a series of episodes of Ted Lasso and The Queen's Gambit, movies like The Brady Bunch movie.
Hi, everybody.
Romy and Michelle's high school reunion, Remember the Titans, and in The Holdovers. Robbie van Leeuwen, who has been media shy really throughout his career, achieved the Lifetime Achievement Honor at the Booma Awards in 2013. He resides in his homeland, where he wrote, arranged, and produced Venus, a song about a goddess that was interpreted by a goddess who erroneously sang about a godness on a mountaintop, and it became the biggest selling single of the rock era that originated from the Netherlands. How about that? Hey, thanks so much for watching. Leave us a comment about Shocking Blue, Venus, Bananarama. What's your favorite version of the song? What do you think about some of the lyrical mishaps? Let's have a great discussion below. Such a catchy song. What other songs should we cover from that era, from the 60s, 70s, 80s? Let us know. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe below. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.